Hey guys, it's me, Apollonia. Today I wanted to read a book from Neville Goddard's The Power of Imagination. This one actually comes from The Law and the Promise. It has like multiple books in one. But this story I feel is the best example of allowing, what Abraham Hicks always talks about, where people, are very confused about action versus inspired action, and if they're just kind of hoping something's going to pan out. Because really, Neville teaches that when you're really, really living in it, and Abraham too, that it'll just come to you. And it's really hard as a human, to trust divine timing or that. But the best thing will come to you if you truly allow and you truly chill out and just imagine it. And, we get like, I know Florence Scovelson always says, the trees and rocks before you hit land. Justin Perry's talked about this too, referencing her. But, where, you might get, there was a lady who got like a cracked dish in the Florence Scovelson book, and she wanted a whole nice set. And Florence said, well, these are just signs of land. It's coming to you. It's a sign. So anyways, I'm going to read this story. It's about an apartment building and a couple that had been wanting it for a really long time, but they didn't have any money to invest into it. So by imagining it, they manifested it into their reality. So here we go. Some 15 years ago, Mrs. M and I purchased a lot on which we built a 2-story building housing our office and living area. We left ample space in the lot for an apartment building. If and when our finances would permit, all those years we were busy paying off our mortgage, and at the end of that time had no money for the additional building we desired so much. It was true that we had an ample savings account, which meant security for our business, but to use any part of a new building would mean to jeopardize that security. But now your teaching awakened a new concept, boldly telling us we could have what we most desired through the controlled use of our imagination, and that realizing a desire was made more convincing without money. We decided to put it to a test, to forget about the money and concentrate our attention on the one thing we desired most in this world, a new apartment building. With this principle in mind, we mentally constructed the new building as we wanted it, actually drawing physical plans so we could better formulate our mental picture of the completed structure, never forgetting to think from the end, in our case, the completed occupied building. We took many imaginative trips through our apartment house, renting the units to imaginary tenants, examining in every detail of every room, and enjoying the feeling of pride as friends offered congratulations on the unique planning. We brought into our imaginal scene one friend in particular. I shall call her Mrs. X, a lady we had not seen for some time, as she had given us up socially, believing us to be a bit peculiar in our new way of thinking. In our imaginal scene, we took her through the building and asked how she liked it. Hearing her voice distinctly, we had a reply, "Doctor, I think it is beautiful." One day, while talking together of our building, my wife mentioned a contractor who had constructed several apartment houses in our neighborhood. We knew of him only by the name that appeared on signs adjacent to buildings under construction, but realizing that if we were living in the end, we would not be looking for a contractor, we promptly forgot this angle, continuing these periods of daily imagining for several weeks. We both felt we now were fused with our desire and had successfully been living in the end. So several weeks they were imagining. One day, a stranger entered our office and identified himself as a contractor whose name my wife had mentioned weeks before. In an apologetic manner, he said, "I don't know why I stopped here. I normally don't go to see people, but rather people come to see me." He explained that he passed our office often and had wondered why there wasn't an apartment building on the corner lot. We assured him we would like that very much to have such a building there, but that we had no money to put into the project, not even a few $100s it would take for plans. Our negative response did not faze him, and seemingly compelled, he began to configure and devise ways and means to carry out the job, unasked and unencouraged by us. Forgetting the incident, we were quite startled when a few days later this man called, informing us that plans were completed and that the proposed building would cost us $30,000. So the first time, $30,000. We thanked him politely and did absolutely nothing. We knew we had been living imaginatively in the end of a completed building, and that imagination would assemble the building perfectly without any outside assistance from us. So we were not surprised when the contractor called again the next day. He had found a set of blueprints in his files that fitted our needs perfectly, with few alterations. This, we were informed, would save us the architect's fee for new plans. We thanked him again and still did nothing. Logical thinkers would insist that such negative response from prospective customers would completely end the matter. So, blueprints, few alterations, and that time it would only cost $1,000. So first time was $33,000. Second time was a few thousand. Instead, 2 days later, after the few thousand he offered, the contractor called again with the news he had located a finance company willing to cover the necessary loan with the exception of a few $1,000s. So it went from exactly 33,000 from it's about 10,000, to a few thousand. It sounds incredible, but we still did nothing. For remember, to us, the building was completed and rented, and in our imagination, we had not put one penny into its construction. The balance of this tale reads like a sequel to Alice in Wonderland. For the contractor came to our office the next day and said, as though presenting us with a gift, "You people are going to have that new building anyway. I've decided to finance the balance of the loan myself. If this is agreeable, I'll have my lawyer draw up the papers and you can pay me back out of net profits from rentals." This time we did do something. So remember, first time 33,000, then 10,000, then 3,000, and then the last time they were like, I'm gonna cover everything, and you just pay me back with the net profits from the rental properties, from the apartment building. This time we did do something. We signed the papers, and construction began immediately. Most of the apartment units were rented before final completion, and all but one occupied. Sorry, I got out of work late. The day of completion, we were so thrilled by the seemingly miraculous events of the past few months that for a while we didn't understand the seeming flaw in our imaginal picture. Why was this, apartment not rented, this one apartment unit? But knowing what we had already accomplished through the power of imagining, we immediately conceived another imaginal scene, and in it this time, instead of showing the party through the unit and hearing the words, "We'll take it," we ourselves in imagination visited tenants who had already taken the apartment. We allowed them to show us through the rooms and heard their pleased and satisfied comments. 3 days later, the apartment was rented. 3 motherfucking days. Our original imaginary drama had objectified itself in every detail save one. And that became a reality when 1 month later, our friend Mrs. X surprised us with a long overdue visit, expressing her desire to see our new building. Gladly, we took her through, and at the end of the tour, heard her speak the line we heard in our imagination so many weeks before, as with emphasis on each word, she said, "Doctor, I think it is beautiful." Our dream of 15 years was realized, meaning manifested. And we know now that it could have been realized in any time within those 15 years if we had known the secret of imagining and how to live in the end of the desire. But now it was realized, our one big desire objectified, and we did not put one penny into it. Dr. M. Yeah, so I think that is the greatest story on allowing. I mean, sometimes it's hard. Like, we want to take action. Sorry, I'm so itchy. And we'll put in job I'm using jobs as an example, but we'll put in job applications and then we'll call them up and then we'll, imagine it. And sometimes you got to take a little action to release the resistance. Like, right, with losing weight, they say that if we imagine having a different vibration and different mindset with food, that will manifest a higher metabolism in that. But sometimes it's not always doable. Like, we have to go with what we believe in, which is like working out and eating healthy while we're changing our beliefs around food. So, it takes time. Sometimes you got to do some action steps to make yourself feel a little better, and then that drives the energy, which drives the action, and then eventually, like, you'll have a moment where you're just like, nothing can hold you back, and that's inspired action. Abraham Hicks calls it wild horses couldn't hold you back. Nobody in the world could hold you back from that, from doing that. So keep imagining it, and remember, little signs like are twigs and rocks before you hit land, and also that if something's not working out, if it doesn't pan out, then it's not the best option. It's just a sign. So do not get disappointed by it. It's just a sign that the real thing is on its way. Thank you for listening. Bye.